Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. What season of life are you in? Fall, when you're planting the seeds of your life? Summer, when you're watching them grow? Spring, when you're benefiting from the harvest? Or winter, when you're cocooning, relying on your reserves to get you through until warmer conditions arrive? Today I want to talk about something that's been quite powerful for me. It's just been amazing, this experience in my life lately, and something that, as all human beings cycle through these seasons, must occur in order for you to grow. I've spent much of my life doing, like many of us. My doing has been writing, creating, thinking of ideas, executing on those ideas, always trying something new, always pushing myself to do better, be better, have more, pushing. And society conditions us to do this because action and achievement tend to be valued more than resting and waiting and evolving. And 2023 was challenging, very challenging for most of us, and in different ways, of course, but it was a year that pushed many of us to endure tests of our capacity to overcome and our resilience to become lighter because of those challenges. Enlightened, actually. And I know in my life that was the case, as was with many other people that I connected with, either my friends, colleagues, and clients. And it's not fun to have to go through such tough times when things aren't so clear, times when you have experiences happen that cause you to just question, not just question, even whether or not you're on the right track in life, but also question your very nature, the nature of who you are. Am I on the right path? Am I being the best person that I can be? Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices? Am I ever going to find peace of mind in the abundance and success that my heart so deeply desires? Intellectually, I know that there are seasons of life. And maybe I've described them in opposite ways than other people would, but this is what came through for me. Of course you know about seasons because we've all heard this saying in our lives at one point or another. But what does that really mean? And what does that mean for you? And why in the heck am I talking about all this today? Well, I want to talk about a specific aspect of the seasons of life. Not just a season, but an aspect of who you are amidst the seasons of life. So each of us has archetypal aspects of who we are. And there is plenty of information out there that talks about this. Carl Jung, one of the most famous psychoanalysts of our time, identified like several of them. Many of them. I think he identified 12. And there are 4 basic ones that we have. And many other mental health and spiritualists have elaborated on them and developed their own. And oftentimes we're not even cognizant that we have these archetypes, let alone how they might impact how we show up for ourselves and others. And today, for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go into all of them and explain them. I think I've done that, a few years back, gone into the archetypes. So you can search in the podcast episodes for that. But rather, I want to focus on one particular archetype that has been prominent in my growth spurt recently, and how, if you take the time to look within, you can find this aspect within you as well. And in fact, we all have this aspect in ourselves and of ourselves, but allowing it to lead the way when we're so busy doing is really next to impossible. So let me ask you this. Have you ever just stopped, even in a moment, let's say you're in your car, right? To just watch what's happening around you? One of my favorite things is going to the airport. Oh, I do like to fly and go places. I don't like all the germs, but I do like to fly. And one of the things that one of the things that I love about going to the airport, anybody that knows me knows that I love people watching. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me looking at people. It makes me giggle because I love to watch how people dress, how they walk, how they have their hair. As a clairvoyant, I am very visual. So seeing who's coupled up with each other, seeing how rushed people are, or how they behave when they're alone, or in proximity to other people, how they stand, like everything that is one of the most fascinating things for me. But have you ever done that? Like just stopped somewhere, you're at the stoplight and you've just looked to see what's new, what you haven't ever seen before, or maybe you're driving with somebody else along the same route that you go to work every day, but you're in the passenger seat and you now notice like houses you've never seen before, or or that there are different cars on the road and what color they are, or that you actually see people walk and you notice their cadence and rhythm. Maybe you've seen new animals or old animals and just watch them. Or maybe you've stopped long enough to see how much junk you keep in your closet at home. Well, I want to take this concept of looking at what's happening in your life to a deeper level, to looking within. And this has been my journey in the past several months. It's been something that honestly I never anticipated. And it's not typical meditating and then noticing what's coming through. For me, this has been a long-standing directive as of late that I've been given by Spirit so that I can quantum leap into the next level of me. But have you ever experienced this before? Okay, so for me, in the past 2 months, Spirit has made it clear that I'm to stop all the doing and just be in the being. Now, for somebody who has been so highly driven to create and achieve and move forward, it felt like a daunting task, and I honestly didn't understand it at first. But I had no choice. I had to find the watcher within me so that I could finally break free from who I had been up until now. And the truth is, we all have this watcher archetype within us, this aspect of us that can step back 6 feet, 12 feet, 100 feet, and simply observe us. We are watching us doing the being, watching ourselves and noticing what's going on in the mind. Not acting on anything, just gathering data, just noticing the thoughts, the beliefs, and feelings that show up in the act of clearing up and clearing out what no longer serves us. I would bet that most of you have had moments like this, right? But not to the extent of a more long-term, daily, momentarily, weekly, monthly experience. I think fewer people tend to have those experiences. And I never imagined that I could ever allow myself the permission to step back so far and watch myself in my life. However, Spirit made sure that I did this every day, all day, until I was able to let go of so much. I didn't even realize I was carrying all this stuff around. Specifically, the guilt I had for not hustling every day while I was watching myself, for not working so hard, for not pushing so hard. You see, the watcher invites us to stop doing and to step back from the drama, the chaos we're involved in, and do nothing. Most would say that they're not involved in chaos and drama in their life, but when you actually step back day after day, you look at yourself and you say, oh my gosh, what have I been doing every day? Right? Most people can't imagine doing nothing. And it's kind of painful in the beginning, to be honest, It causes us to look at our life and how we're living it. Most of us really don't want to do that, especially in the ways that I'll say for me. And it wasn't painful, it was just different. I was called to look at who I am, what emotions I practice regularly, what thoughts I had that caused me to identify myself in a particular way, what stories I told myself about my past, my life now, my life in general, and who I am. And I thought I knew myself pretty well. I did until I experienced this. And I have come to know myself in a deeper way. And I literally have been able to observe myself in the doing and the being, and as if I'm looking at a screen that has a split screen where I'm existing and I'm noticing who I am being, the thoughts I have, the beliefs I have, with no judgment, no attachment, nothing, just full surrender. And I've been able to literally watch these old beliefs, these old thoughts, the old me disintegrate. I've left that part, most of it, right? And so the watcher pulls us back from all of the old stuff that we've been practicing. And a watcher asks us to breathe a bit deeper, and for the sake of our growth, right? For the growth that we so desperately desire to get to where we want to go, we've got to take the time to just be curious and literally watch us being. Now, that may sound really weird and silly for those of you who aren't ready to do that, or who have not ever experienced this, who allow resistance to lead the way. But when it's spiritually time to do this, trust me, the universe is going to step in and force you to stop doing. You know, we've all heard these stories from time to time about tragic things happening, right? People who work themselves to the bone to the point where they become too sick to work at all and they have to stop and stay home to get physically healthy. And then along the path, along their way of doing this happened in COVID, during COVID time. We were forced, the world stopped, and we had to literally look at how we were living our life. We couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything. We had to be with ourselves. This is what the watcher helps us do. You've heard of somebody who's been stricken with a horrible disease or been a victim of a horrible accident, and these people are stopped in their tracks to take stock of their life, because they have to redefine who they are after these experiences. And it took that major occurrence for you, maybe, to do that. Maybe you've experienced that because your resistance wouldn't allow you to take the personal and spiritual time off prior to that life-altering moment. Thankfully, I'm grateful, thank goodness, I did not need to experience something so drastic and negative to connect me with the watcher within. It happened oddly enough, almost naturally. I had completed the task that I needed to. I launched this program, and then it was like, nope, no more. Done. Each time I went to do something, Spirit gently pulled me back, wiped ideas from my mind, and guided me to lean back in my chair and notice the behaviors and thoughts that I was practicing. I've been mind blown since this began, and the insights and serendipitous experiences that I've had have been beyond unbelievable. Even for somebody like me, a very spiritual person, I literally every day have encountered some sort of validation that has let me know that I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the beingness of it. And I've surrendered and I've let go more than I could possibly have ever anticipated. And for so long, I've held on so tightly to everything. And honestly, I didn't really know why. Now I do. And now I don't do that anymore. This is the winter period, quite literally, as this episode is in the winter months. But the winter period is when we aren't planting seeds. We aren't seeing the sprouts of our seeding, and we aren't seeing the fruits of our labor showing up. We're hibernating. And in this hibernation period, when we withdraw from the world, we allow the watcher to guide our gaze from afar. The watcher points out what our outdated story is about ourselves and helps us gain courage to move forward into the unknown without fear or worry after we've let whatever we've needed to fall away with grace and praise. I encourage you to invite the watcher to come out of hiding and to show you what it is that you need to see about the old and new, and to guide you towards your quantum leap. Look, it took me at least a full month to allow this process to unfold, but I'm in it, and more present than I have ever been in my life, and with more peace in my heart and mind than I ever thought possible. And I am in awe of this experience. And I am also so grateful. There is room for the new as I have been able to honor what I've been through and what I've accomplished and what I've been able to not do and just be. So I ask you, when will you step back and give permission for the watcher to show you what you need to see and let go of, so that you can quantum leap into the next level of you? My hope for you is that you'll do that sooner than later. But trust me though, if you don't, the universe is going to help you. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend, and be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.